So if you're one of those people like myself who thought that a strong opposition, the People's National Party gaining 28 seats and forming a strong opposition would be good for democracy, would be good for Jamaica, and Jamaicans would benefit from a strong People's National Party, especially when the opposition leader, Mark Golin, stated that they wanted to work together with the government. If you are one of those persons, then that promise is not looking so good today, because when the Prime Minister of Jamaica and the Foreign Affairs Minister, they were in New York attending the United Nations General Assembly, the People's National Party and its leadership, they were in Jamaica planning an attack ad, and they were accusing the Prime Minister of Jamaica of not standing with the world against what is going on in Palestine. So this is the attack ad going after the Prime Minister of Jamaica.
Jamaica has always been respected internationally for standing firmly on matters of justice and human rights. To be absent from the vote and to remain seated while others registered protest is a clear departure from that proud tradition. Our silence sends a wrong signal to the international community and to the Palestinian people who continue to suffer. The government's passivity weakens Jamaica's moral voice and undermines our legacy of courage. The People's National Party reaffirms our commitment to a foreign policy guided by justice, human dignity, and respect for international law.
So what is the People's National Party accusing the Prime Minister of on his trip to the United Nations General Assembly? So one, they are accusing the Prime Minister of not standing up for the Palestinian people. All of the leaders across the world, they went out there and they spoke out against what is going on between Israel and the Palestinians, and they are accusing the Prime Minister of Jamaica for not going far enough. So this is the part of the speech, the Prime Minister's speech, that the leaders of the opposition don't think that the Prime Minister went far enough.
Madam President, Jamaica once again condemns the heinous October 7, 2023 attack on Israel and is deeply horrified by the devastating humanitarian consequences of the counteroffensive in the Palestinian territories. A just and peaceful resolution to the conflict is only possible through diplomacy and dialogue. We continue to support United Nations Security Council Resolution 242 and support the call for a ceasefire agreement that includes the release of all remaining hostages and definitively ending the protracted war and human suffering.
Okay, so that was the Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Most Honorable Dr. Andrew Holness. And I think it's important to note that the Prime Minister, his speech was about 30 minutes. And you compare that with the speech of the Prime Minister of Barbados, the Most Honorable Mia Mottley. And this was a clip of her speech coming out of the United Nations General Assembly.
Of course, I don't need to remind you that it must not ignore the horror in Gaza. The genocidal destruction taking place in both places must now have our full attention. And as it relates to Gaza, yes, there must be a release of the hostages taken on October 7th. But we have now gone to a point where all of our human sensibilities are offended by the continuous and disproportionate attacks on the Palestinian people and the failure to allow access by the international community to the survivors for the provision of humanitarian aid. The survivors are entitled, my friends, to use the words of Bob Marley. How can you be sitting there telling me that you care, when every time I look around, the people suffer in the suffering in every way, in everywhere? My friends, it calls to mind the Roman historian Tacitus, who quoted a Scottish chieftain fighting against the military might of the Roman Empire. And I mention only the last two sentences. They plunder, they butcher, they ravish, they make it desert and call it, they make it desert and they call it peace. The real tragedy of war is that these children, when they become grandparents, will still be answering the innocent questions posed by their grandchildren 70, 80 years from now as to how they lost their limbs. Granny, how did you lose your leg? And when they answer, we run the risk that the violence and hate will be perpetuated for another 2 to 3 generations.
Okay, so you can take a look at the two speech and see the contrast in the difference of how those speech was delivered. While the Prime Minister of Barbados, she came out really strong, and some of the other Prime Ministers in the Caribbean came out strong, calling what is happening in Israel and Palestine a genocide, and going really hard and asking the UN to step in and the international community to step in. The Prime Minister, Dr. Andrew Holness, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, his speech was more diplomatic, was more measured. So the People's National Party, they are accusing the Prime Minister of Jamaica of not being strong enough, saying that, look, Jamaica, we have a history of standing up for the world, for the disenfranchised, and the Prime Minister did not do us proud because his speech was measured. Not only that, they're accusing the Prime Minister of abstaining from a very important vote, a vote that would allow Palestinians officials to zoom in and to make their presentation at the United Nations General Assembly. And also, they're accusing the Prime Minister of not walking out with some of the other leaders from the Caribbean and the wider world when the Prime Minister of Israel came in. When Benjamin Netanyahu came in, a lot of people walked out, and the People's National Party, they are accusing the Prime Minister of Jamaica of not walking out. So I'm going to show you one of the video and just take a look carefully and let me know if you see any sign of the Prime Minister in that video. Because I'm very curious, how did they know that the Prime Minister did not walk out, and why did they go so hard to accuse the Prime Minister of not walking out while the other, some of the other leaders, world leaders, walked out. So take a look at the video.
The Assembly will continue its consideration of Agenda Item 8 entitled General Debate. The Assembly will hear an address by His Excellency Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of the State of Israel. I request protocol to escort His Excellency and invite him to address the Assembly. Please, order in the hall. 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 Please order in the hall and please be seated. Please order in the hall.
So I watched that video about 20 times and looking for the Prime Minister, looking for the delegation from Jamaica, and I did not see the delegation. I also did not see some of the other leaders from the Caribbean that was walking out. It's very difficult to look in that crowd and to pinpoint who was walking out from who was sitting down. So today, while holding a press conference, Kamina Johnson-Smith, the Foreign Affairs Minister, she called out the People's National Party of being mischievous and lying on the government. And she explained what was really going on at the United Nations General Assembly as the delegation, a small delegation of Jamaicans just coming out of an election, went to the United Nations General Assembly, having several different meetings, including bilateral meetings with the Prime Minister of Canada and different world leaders. So this is what Kamina Johnson-Smith had to say.
In the CELAC Foreign Ministers meeting, the CELAC EU Foreign Ministers meeting, the CELAC China Foreign Ministers meeting, the CELAC India Foreign Ministers meeting, and the CELAC Japan Foreign Ministers meeting. And these, when you hear the sheer number of meetings, you have a sense and understand why. And I will just segue into this. There had been some questions about Jamaica being absent from a vote on a Palestine-related issue. And it really was that the team was all preparing for this meeting. It was not the 80th session, it was a special session that was called at short notice for that particular issue to be taken. And although I hear it being described as a key vote on Palestine, it was a procedural vote to agree for Palestine to be able to issue their national statement virtually. So we have a small team. No one was able to go there. There was never any risk to the vote, and it did have the mass approval as had been expected. I see that people are trying to use it to say that there's a divide or silence or that we're inconsistent, but honestly, as a small country, what we are able to do and what the team in New York is able to do, I'm so proud of them, and I could never diminish the work that they do or that they did in preparing us all. 4 ministers, 3 ministers and a prime minister to attend in all of the meetings, which I'm not even listing all here, for us to ensure that Jamaica is impactful. I think sometimes maybe we need to take a broader and more, yes, maybe. Maybe that's the word to use. But maybe ask a few more questions and then exercise a little more proportionality in terms of the weight that we attach to issues.
So that was the Foreign Affairs Minister, Kamina Johnson-Smith. So guys, sound off in the comment section and let me know your thoughts on this. Is this something that is worthwhile attacking the government about? Remember, we just came out of an election. We saw the opposition leader, Mark Golding, vowing to work together with the Prime Minister for the betterment of the people of Jamaica. Is this a good start? So let me share my opinion. I think the People's National Party need to get out of campaign mode. The election is over. We have 5 more years before another general election. And I believe that it is going to be annoying for the Jamaican people to be talking about politics for the next 5 years, for the opposition leader to be attacking the government non-stop for the next 5 years. And I think that this is one of those things that the opposition leader, they could have let this one slip. Because the thing is, the United Nations General Assembly, last year at the United Nations, the Prime Minister of Barbados, everybody knows the Prime Minister of Barbados, she go hard. People love her for it. God bless her. She goes hard for the people of the Palestinian people. And she go hard for a lot of disenfranchised countries around the world. She reminded me of Michael Manley, the way Michael Manley was when Michael Manley was the Prime Minister of Jamaica. However, Jamaica paid a dear price for Michael Manley going hard, especially after the American government. And I believe that the approach that the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Dr. Andrew Holness, the measured approach, I've been watching this man for the past couple of years, and anything that to deal with, especially since the Trump administration is in office, and anything to do with regional or global politics, what I realize with the Prime Minister is very, very measured in what he says. He doesn't just respond, he's not a bombastic person. He thinks carefully before words come out of his mouth. He's not the type of person that is going to call out genocide just like that, just to be as I said, bombastic just like that. Love him for it or hate him for it. I believe that this is a Prime Minister being diplomatic and a Prime Minister knowing well that no matter what Jamaica says, no matter what all the other countries in the world talk about, the only person that can stop this genocide that is going on with the Palestinian people is America. And if America is not stopping it, no matter what a small island like Jamaica said, no matter what Barbados say, no matter what the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines say, like nothing is going to change. America is the one that hold the cards for all of these things that is going on. So that is just my opinion, and I thought that this was a waste of time. I thought that this pretty much put Jamaicans in a position where we can't trust the opposition leader to work with the government now for the best interest of Jamaica moving forward, because I believe that the People's National Party went out of their way to attack the government, and this was their first chance to pretty much show maturity since the election, and I believe that they failed. So guys, sound off in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on this one. Do you believe that this was worthwhile for the opposition to be attacking the Prime Minister of Jamaica and saying that the Prime Minister was not standing strong with the Palestinian people? Let me know in the comment section. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. And remember, peace. I'm out.